Hello, friends. I'm so glad you could join me. We're about to jump into a wonderful and very old story. It's all about a father's incredible love for his son and a huge test that shows us what it truly means to trust God.
Think about a time you had to do something that felt a little bit scary, but you did it anyway, right? Maybe because you trusted your mom or dad to be right there with you. Well, our story today is all about that exact kind of feeling, a big, brave kind of trust.
So let's begin. Our story starts with a very kind man named Abraham and his son, Isaac. And Isaac wasn't just any son. He was a miracle that Abraham and his wife had been waiting for their entire lives.
You see, for years and years, Abraham and his wife Sarah had hoped and prayed for a child. So when Isaac was finally born, it felt like a promise from God had come true right in their arms. Abraham loved that little boy more than anything in the world.
Now, one day, God decided it was time to test Abraham's faith. This wasn't going to be an easy test, not at all. It was meant to see if Abraham's trust in God was big enough and strong enough to handle something very, very confusing.
God asked Abraham to do something that must have felt just impossible. He said to take his precious son, Isaac, to a mountain and give him back to God as a special kind of offering called a sacrifice. Wow. Can you imagine? This must have been the single hardest thing Abraham had ever been asked to do. It was the ultimate test of his trust.
Just think about how Abraham must have felt. I'm sure his heart was so heavy. But deep, deep down, he believed that God was good and that God had a loving plan, even if he couldn't see it or understand it at all. So he made the choice. He chose to obey. So the very next morning, Abraham, Isaac, and a couple of their helpers started their journey. They walked for 3 whole days toward the mountain God had told him about. I wonder what was going through Abraham's mind on that long, quiet walk. As they got close to the mountain, Isaac turned to his father. He was a smart boy, and he noticed something was missing. He said, "Father, I see the fire in the wood, but where's the lamb we're supposed to use for the offering?" Now listen to what Abraham said back. It's just amazing. Even with all the worry he must have felt, he looked at his son with so much love and said, "God himself will provide the lamb, my son." He was holding on so tightly to his faith, just trusting that God had a plan. When they finally got to the top of the mountain, Abraham built a stone altar. And then, with what must have been the greatest sadness, he gently placed his son Isaac on the wood. He was trusting God completely, even in this impossible moment. But just as Abraham raised his hand, a voice boomed from the heavens, calling his name. "Abraham! Abraham, stop!" It was an angel from God, sent at that very exact second. The angel told him, "Don't you hurt the boy in any way." The test, it was over. Abraham had passed. He had shown God that his trust was real, that he was even willing to give God the most precious person in his whole life. And right then and there, just like Abraham believed he would, God provided. Abraham looked up from the altar, and he saw something that must have made his heart leap. Right there, caught by its horns in a bush, was a ram. Oh, the joy Abraham must have felt. He just knew this was the lamb God had provided. Isaac was safe. Abraham was so overcome with gratitude that he gave that place a very special name. He called it Jehovah-Jireh. It's a big name, but it has a simple, beautiful meaning for all of us. It means the Lord will provide. It's a reminder that God always sees what we need, and he always takes care of us. And because Abraham showed such amazing and complete trust, God gave him a huge blessing, a wonderful promise for his entire family for all of time. God promised to bless Abraham and his family beyond measure. He said that one day his family would be as numerous as all the stars you can see in the night sky, and as many as all the grains of sand on every beach, and that through his family the whole world would be blessed. This incredible story really shows us something important, doesn't it? It teaches us that even when things are confusing, even when we feel a little scared, we can trust God. He has a good plan, he loves us so much, and he always keeps his promises. So as we finish up, let's just think for a moment. How can we be a little bit like Abraham? How can we show our trust in God in our lives today? Maybe it's by listening to our parents, or by being a kind friend someone can count on, or maybe just by talking to God when we feel worried about something. So I hope you always remember the story of Abraham and Isaac and the amazing love of a God who always, always provides. Thank you so much for sharing this story with me.
Now go out there and live a life full of trust.